All right, so it's been asked, how do I add numbers to my clock face? Well, here we go. Let's do that. First thing, I'm going to make a sketch on top of the clock face. So I'll create a sketch there. And now I need to kind of make it easy for me to know where to put the numbers. So I'm going to create a pattern of points all the way around the clock face, and then I'll add the numbers to the on top of those points. So the first thing I want to do is add a line that I can snap into, and I'm going to make that a construction line. So I draw it from the origin, select it, and then convert it into a construction line. Now I'll create a point, and a point is just a single point in space, and so I'm going to add that point there, and it's already kind of dimensioned because it's on the. If I turn off the clock face, you can see that it's black, and that's fine. I can also move that up and down with a dimension, so I'll do that. I'll bring in a dimension, and I'll move that from there to there, and I'll say that I want that to be 20 millimeters off of the edge. And there we go. So that point now moves down, and if I zoom out, I'll turn off the visibility of the face and the mechanism just to make it easier to see everything on the sketch. There we go. Okay, so now I need to make a circular pattern of the point. So I'll zoom in, and it's going to want to know, well, what do I pattern? Fusion says, what do I do? What do I do? And so I select objects, and of course I want that point. And now I'm going to select the center point, and I think you can guess that the center point will be our origin point. If I zoom out, you can see that the default is to create a pattern of 3. But I want more than that. I want 12 of them. So to bring that in, I'm going to, there's a couple of ways to do it. You can type them in, which is what I'll do. As soon as I type 12, it makes 12. You can also come and click the numbers here, or you can click the numbers here. It doesn't really matter. But I'm going to leave it at 12, and I'm going to leave all of them ticked. These tick boxes allow me to sort of select or deselect them. I want them all, so I'll leave them all on. I'll say OK, and I now have a pattern. These points shouldn't interfere too much with the design. They're not going to impact anything, but they are something I can snap into and tie into when I create some text. So I go down to my Create menu, say Text, and right away it's going to ask me to snap into a point, and I can snap there, and then I can give the text. And I'm going to say number 1, and then I can change it to whatever I want, in terms of the font. So for now, I'll set the height at 10 millimeters. I'll put it 1. I'll make it bold, and I'll leave it at Arial. You can change it to whatever you like. I mean, you've got lots of fonts you can use. But I'll use Arial for now, and there we go. It's upside down. That's not good. I think I better undo that and then add it again. Create, text, and then here I'll put in 10. That's fine. I'll put the number 1, make it bold, and what I should have done is this. I should have rotated that up. There we go. And so it's now got a nice angle. I think you can also, flip things horizontally and vertically and so on. And there we go. So that's it. I've got my text. It's there. I say OK, and I've made my number 1. This is a selectable sketch entity so that you can extrude that. I would, of course, now, before I finish my sketch, I then create more text and come around and add the rest of the numbers. So again, text, and I'll snap into that point, and then I'll put in the number 2, set it at bold, and there we go. And you can see here it needs probably to be flipped. No, that's not it. No flip, no flip. So I think it just wants to be rotated. There we go. So I'm just going to rotate that up by minus 180 degrees, and there we go. And so you would continue to do this all the way around until you're happy with the size. This is probably not big enough, but for our demo, it'll suffice. I can then go back to my design surface by closing the sketch. I'll turn the clock face back on. And because that sketch that I made, and here I would name that sketch and I'd call this the numbers. So now that that sketch is on, and it's on top of my clock face, I can come in here and I can do a standard extrude. I come in there, select that, and now I can either extrude that out or extrude it up, and you can kind of go crazy. If you're going to do an extrude up, make sure that you set it to new component, and make sure that you select all the numbers all at once if you can. That way, you would be able to bring them all up at all the same size. I would set my thickness, the distance here, I would set that to thickness. So there it is. I put thickness, and that's going to bring up my thickness that I had set in my parameters. If I've got that set correctly, let's check here. What was my thickness parameter set to? And thickness is set to 4, and I say OK. Well, that's probably not what I like, so I'm going to come back and edit that feature, and come back and I wonder how thick my clock. No, that's correct, I think. Okay, anyway, well there you go. It's made the numbers. You can turn them on and off. You can see they're there, but you get the idea. I think that you can cut them. You can extrude them. I could change it right now when I edit the feature to be an extrude, and I could set that instead of it being a new body, I could change it to cut. It'll go all the way through. Set the extent to object and click to the back of the clock, and then what it'll do is it will cut all the way through the clock, and it'll cut that number out, and you can kind of see it's about to do that. All right, so that's basically it, how to add numbers to your clock.